we do in life echoes in eternity.
Yeah.
What have you learned with your bodybuilding career?
Genetics play a big role. genetics play a huge role. And I'm not gonna say you can't fight them, you can't, assist them, but just some body types were made to compete for some divisions. And just in general, like no matter what it is that you're trying to do it to the best of your ability. But just know, no matter what you take of something or do or add, you can't stop genetics. You can't try to not say enhance them, but you can't go past what has been God given. Okay.
I guess then I go on the flip side.
Okay.
I think genetics is important, but I think it's also getting a good coach.
Yes.
So,
by all means.
Okay. Like with me, like my calves.
Yep.
Like I don't work them out.
Yeah.
But but I have a hard time developing my back, so I hit that 3 times a week.
Right.
I'm constantly working on these muscles, my genetically weaker muscles. So I think it's having, because I notice all these coaches, they have these cookie cutter programs, and you see chest Monday, back Tuesday, legs Wednesday, shoulders Thursday, and arms on Friday.
Yes, sir.
Now, what do you think of that split?
I mean, I did it. I'm not going to lie. Yes, I did it because I thought that was the way. Following men, that's what I was like, that's what I'm supposed to do to get big. So I did. Did it work? No. Now, don't get me wrong. I advanced more than how I normally would have just sitting on the couch or doing something I saw on Instagram, because I had somebody there with me, pushing me, helping me get forced reps and things of that nature. So all that included will help you make gains. However, again, will I have a back like Kristen Nunn? Probably not. Arms like Kristen Nunn? Probably not. We talked about insertion points, muscle bellies. There's just some things you can't get past, which is fine. You can always enhance and do better, but it may not be to the top tier that you're expecting.
So if someone has 3 days to work out, what's a great split for them?
I'm probably going to do push-pull legs.
Okay, push.
Yeah.
Okay, and then biggest dieting tip, like quick tip that you could give, like, hey, you know what? Like, what's going to help them the most? What's one change that someone could do that can make an amazing influence on their diet or health?
Water.
Okay.
I think most of us do not get enough, or we think we do. We're not even probably drinking enough. If not water, find a way to not eat processed foods every day of the week.
So you see, like, processed foods. Now, what do you think, like, processed foods will later on, do you believe processed foods are partly a factor to increase cancer, increase diabetes, childhood obesity, and all that stuff?
Agreed. All that, yes, I do.
Do you have any meal prepping tips?
Meal prepping tips. If they're not competing, I don't think you should be counting macros and calories and all that good stuff. Just try to eat a good portion of everything, meaning carbs, fats.
Now, when it comes to protein, any proteins you don't want to, like, a lot of people, there was a study out there saying that meat causes cancer, and there's like, everyone's like, they're like getting healthy, and they're like, I stopped eating steak. I stopped eating red meat, and it's like, you just, like, with me, it's like, it infuriates me. It's like, you just took out the most nutritious thing.
Okay.
Like, that's me.
Right.
So.
Well, why do you think steak is so more nutritious?
Well, because it's like one of the few foods that you can live off of. And that's why I'm like, okay, well, steak, when you cut out steak and, people have this negative bias towards beef and the beef industry, it's just kind of like, this is a nutritious food that we can live off of. Right. And then you have the people wanting to be vegetarian and cutting out meat and a decrease in meat. But when I see people in the ICU, everyone in the ICU has low albumin levels.
Okay.
Low protein levels. So we're not getting enough protein. When you get older, you don't absorb it, and it's just becoming this negative thing. And I think people have a hard time getting that protein in, and we're not getting that quality of protein. I think we're equating gram to gram. Okay. I'm getting 4 grams of protein from my broccoli, but 4 grams from steak.
Right.
The bioavailability of this of the steak is better, so it's gonna be absorbed better. Where the broccoli has the fiber, and So
I know.
What is your okay? Now my thing. Do you think fiber is important for a diet?
I'm like, we are just. I said yes. James is like, no. So.
But okay, before you met me, pre-James.
Yeah. Was I really hard on it? No, not really. But do I consume vegetables? Did I tell my clients to consume vegetables? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I had green beans, broccoli, asparagus, whatever vegetable, carrots, whatever my coach told me to do and consume, I did.
Okay.
Period. But do your own research by all means. Like, we may disagree about fiber, veggies, whatever, steak. People are thinking about, okay, hormones being injected.
Well,
That, you know what I'm saying? You can say, okay, steak, but then they're like, oh, okay, we just pumped this cow up with all these hormones.
I mean,
so now what?
You can get non-hormone
Exactly.
cows, but also, like, when it comes down to, like, plants, we spray them with a bunch of chemicals.
Yes.
And plants have the anti-nutrients, and, like, soy mimics estrogen. And I think that's, the big introduction of soy and the mass production of soy in processed foods is the link to cancer. Because the way I see it is the increase of breast cancer and all these things that are out there. And you know what sucks? The biggest thing is processed food is delicious.
It is.
Like,
lie.
I was like, damn it, like, it's like so addictive to, like, have that processed food. And, like, I have processed food, and I know it doesn't make me a better person,
right?
But it's a hard kick. Do you have any tips for getting rid of not eating
No. Okay, I know people have. There's people that don't do processed food ever. It's feasible. It really is. It's doable. Can I do it? Probably not. I'm not gonna lie to you. But any advice on it? It's really gonna have to take some mental control and stability and just self-control. Because it is easier to go buy a $10 burger, a $5 burger, than it is to go and buy chicken breast or buy steak. Especially the way things cost now. You know what I mean? So people are like, what's easier? What's quicker?
One thing I was like, do you think it's because people don't believe that these things are really gonna get them?
I mean, we ate steak and stuff for years. Could I say that contributed to my mother's cancer, depending? Yeah, but so did her smoking. You know what I'm saying? So did the other things that she ingested. So, like, I think with constant research, which, you get one side that's saying this, you got the WHO saying that, you know what I'm saying, CDC saying this, and people, and you're going to be flooded with information. At the end of the day, you have to do what works for you.
Okay, when it comes to information, you're a kinesiology degree.
Yes.
This is where I'm going to
tear me down.
I love talking about this. So, like, when I was in kinesiology school, whenever I wanted to write something, I could always find an article to back me up. I can be like, the sun causes increase of testosterone.
Yep.
And I could find me an article. Like, maybe that actually is relatable, but
right, yeah.
It kind of does, but that's a whole different story. But so with all these studies, I think people, like, look at these studies and, like, because there's a study that's saying meat causes cancer, and there's a study that's meat doesn't cause cancer. So how do people differentiate?
I mean, it's going to have to go on the website, who's doing the research. People are like, okay, don't follow anything that's .com. Always do .orgs, .edus, informational journals, you know what I'm saying, the NSCA journals, things of that nature, things that have substance. Go ahead.
Okay.
Good.
I got a good one. Have you seen the My Plate?
The old school one?
No, that's the new thing.
I was like...
The My Plate, where it's basically the government has put out a thing on how you should eat your food.
Okay.
So it's basically, you have a plate, 50% of it should be vegetables.
Right.
And then you have, like, I think another, like, I don't know, 30% carbs and then the rest protein. What do you think of that diet?
No.
Do you think it's feasible?
It is feasible. Somebody is out there doing it right now. Whether it's Atkins diet, Mediterranean diet, caveman diet, whatever it is. Someone is out there doing it. Someone's going to attest that it works. And that's fine, because maybe it may work for that individual. However, you researching, being able to dissect certain things with your profession, you might be able to see gaps and holes that normal people are missing. So that's why it's important to also reach out, like, okay, hey, James, I found this, or anyone with higher education. I see the My Plate. Would this work for my diet? What I'm trying to accomplish.
Then let's talk about that new fitness apps and fitness nutrition apps. What are your take on those?
We see them every day. People working out in the gym, and they're like, okay, cool. They go do the exercise, and they're looking, okay. That's fine if you're a sedentary person not knowing anything, just wanting to get into the gym and learn things, right? But a better way would actually be to seek a professional. It's good for, again, someone that's not competing, someone that's sedentary, someone that's just starting out. But again, that's when the time is to put that knowledge in there. You know what I mean? Did I go, like, I had a volleyball coach that was teaching me pole vault. Did he know exactly? Did he know the mechanics? No. But at the end of the day, that's all we had. So, and that's what I mean. When you're around certain situations, if we were up in Cali or New York or somewhere, we may be, certain information may be available to us that's not available here. You may have to reach out to a certain doctor in India, you know what I'm saying, given your connections, and we're just stuck here with El Paso information. Yeah, we can research and things of that nature, but it's better to have that connection there, in my opinion. But as far as the My Plate and all, no. the fad diets that people go through. It's just a means to an end.
What are fat diets? Name I'm pretty sure
keto.
I've done them.
Keto.
Okay. Why do you think keto's a fat diet?
I'm not putting butter in my coffee. I don't get the point of it. I don't understand. I just didn't do enough research to get it. I'll tell you that.
Okay, well, keto is like the kid of fasting.
Yes.
So it's basically decreasing your insulin levels so that way you can get the benefit of fasting.
Okay.
So that's why keto is great. But the problem is, I think with keto, is people do it unhealthy.
Yes.
And it's the increase of like seed oils and omega-6s, which give you that inflammatory response, which are causing all this damage. I think if you do, because you look at history, what did we were keto. Like when we're in the Ice Age, what did we eat?
Meat.
Yeah, meat. We were on a ketogenic diet.
Right.
So it's more natural to be on a ketogenic diet. I don't see it as a trend.
Okay.
I think it's just there's more light to it. And
Okay.
I mean it's basically, we tried the agricultural thing. And
Okay.
I think carbs are all right.
Yes.
I love them. They taste delicious. But when at the end of the day, America's problems in healthcare and all that stuff is caused by our food.
Yes.
So, but
Very true.
I'm a huge fan of keto. I think it's a great thing. But I can completely understand why you say you don't like it, because people do it incorrectly.
Yes.
And then they're eating sticks of butter.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, there's nothing wrong with eating a stick of butter.
Wow. I'm like, gee, go ahead, explain
Okay,
that.
no.
Ahead.
There's nothing wrong with eating sticks of butter. I mean, so do you believe a low-fat diet is ideal for health?
Low fat. For some individuals, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Should I put a obese client on a high fat diet? No. Go ahead.
Okay,
Good.
that's like,
High fat diet? No. Low, yeah, we're going to try it. Now, I'm not saying completely knock them out, but that's not going to be the bulk of their nutrition.
okay.
That may be the lowest of the carbs and the protein, but no, I'm not going to stick them on a...
Okay. You've competed.
Yes.
And when you're trying to get that shredded look,
Uh-huh.
what's the thing you manipulate?
Fats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I manipulate carbs more.
Do you? No.
So I think carb cycling has gotten me that look a lot better.
Okay.
Manipulating carbs. So like me, like manipulation of carbs is going to manipulate fat loss.
Okay.
Because, and I mean, that's just what I've learned from like other things and insulin and all that stuff.
Right.
And fat doesn't increase insulin. And the studies out there, I think there's this bad conception, like misinterpretation and bad knowledge about when it comes to fats. And people are like, oh, fat's bad. Fat's going to make you fat.
Right. That's
But
such, yeah.
have you ever met anyone on a ketogenic diet that's fat?
No, but then I didn't really ask. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? I
okay.
didn't really go, okay, what's your diet like? I'll say this: the people that I have encountered, when I ask them are fasting on a keto diet, they have all been obese. I'm not even kidding. All my clients that have done a fasting diet or a keto diet or something, they are usually obese or over fat.
Do you think there's a way to do keto healthy?
Yes, I just
Okay.
haven't seen it.
So basically all these diets work. We're just not having that knowledge base.
Right.
And basically with that, where it comes back to is like you need to hire an expert.
Yes.
Because I've done the vegetable juicing. I've done carnivore. I've done like carb cycling. I've tried to count calories. That was the worst diet I've ever been on. But so delicious.
Yes.
I'll give it that.
You like it?
Just a weird story. I tried to do a prep with Lenny and Larry's cookies. Huge disaster. Because I was like calories in, calories out. My
Right.
friend looked at me and was like, luckily my friend was nice and he was like, you can't compete.
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be honest.
And he just like, because he saw all the boxes of cookies in my house. He's just like, you idiot.
Right, Jay.
But at least he was nice enough to tell me you're an idiot.
Yes.
Because I you know what, I think a lot of us, family influences so much. And I think we, in a way, sometimes families like, you're beautiful. And so it kind of like, oh, I'm beautiful. I don't need a truck.
Yes. Yes.
And I think the society and social norms are becoming more like, don't try.
Right.
I think it's almost Instagram is like against people trying. Oh, you're showing off now.
Yes.
Oh, you can lift that weight. Oh, you're showing
Right.
off. Oh, you know what? You can't be proud of your body almost. And it's like, oh, you're showing off. But if you gain some weight, oh, you're beautiful the way you are.
Right.
But maybe it's like you're beautiful the way you are, but you're not healthy.
Right.
And that's where the family needs to come in and say, hey, stop eating. Just maybe cut it down to a pint of ice cream,
Right.
3 gallons.
Right.
Just something like
But if you get family members that don't have the knowledge or don't care, or they're like, you're fine the way you are, which is great. As soon as I found out my mother had cancer, diabetes, we were trying to change her diet. The doctor already sends you, he gives you the papers. Hey, this is how she needs to eat from now on. Did she follow it 100%? No, because my mother's a military woman. She was like, I'm going to eat what I want, right? Eventually that ended with her demise. But my point is reaching out, finding out the information that you need, because every diet's not going to work. Keto may not work for me, but it works for you. It may not work for this gentleman here, but it may work for, the lady that was cleaning. And that's what I mean. You are your own self-experiment. Even with my coaches, you have to communicate. Hey, coaches, this is really feeling right, or hey, this food made me kind of feel acidic in my stomach. Something, because what we see and how we try to, personally train, we're going off not cookie cutter, but we have to go based off of you, your eating habits, everything you've done in the past, any injuries, things of that nature. We have to take that all into account. So the first time may not be a right hit target. You got to keep at it and keep at it, and that's just you in general, whether you have a coach or not. The right diet for you may not be that one at the time. And then our bodies change biologically as we get older. Foods we didn't like before, we do like now, and vice versa. So we're consistently changing. So that's how nutrition and fitness has to be with people. It's not going to be, like I said, a cookie cutter, and this is going to be the way I do my split every dime every year. No, things are going to change. We're going to get injured. Things are going to happen. So just be open to that. Whether it's nutrition, dieting, being sedentary, being more healthy, nutrition, reaching out, just always be willing to learn.
I think having an open mind is a huge factor in bodybuilding and in fitness and health.
Yes.
Like, I think I've noticed people have this, are closed-minded. It's almost like diets are religions to people. It's like, oh, no. And I tell people, like, keto, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
I can't hang out with you.
Right.
You're not my friend now.
Yes.
And now, what have you heard that they're doing?
I haven't. They're just appearance.
Oh, okay.
If you've been on keto for a certain amount of time, and I'm not like a week or two, no. I just think that's not a diet you should do consistently. People, if you want to get in shape really quick, or you got a wedding coming up in a few weeks, okay, maybe. But to live that way forever, I just don't think that's feasible or nutritious. But like I said, the examples that were provided for me as a keto diet, they look like crap.
What were the examples?
Overweight, overfat.
Oh, the
people
examples of people. I thought
that were getting
examples of food.
Yeah, not food, but they were just like, hey, I'm on the keto diet. How long you been on? Oh, about 3 months. And I'm like, you don't look appealing, not to me. Fasting, they were usually over fat. And I'm like, oh, I weigh. And I'm thinking, you're trying to rush 16 to 20 hours worth of nutrition in 8 hours, because that's when you're allowed to eat. To me, I'm like, you're going to still eat like crap. You're not going to sit there and eat chicken and rice and fit. No, you're not. You're going to eat food that's there. McDonald's, cookies, ice cream. You know what I'm saying? But again, the examples that were presented embodied that. So, because I would ask them, well, what are you eating? And these hours? Everything, anything. I'm like, okay, like what? Lasagna, burgers, what are we talking about here? So it's just, people that hire me, of course I'm a calling card. If I looked or didn't look a certain way, they wouldn't hire me, right? You're going to entrust that this person knows what they're talking about just based on physical, not attraction, but just based on the physical. So if you're trying to represent or give me a diet, okay, recommend a diet to me, and you are on it or you have done it and you don't look the part, I'm not going to believe you. Give me some research. Give me some stuff to look at and figure out that I want to, because I'm not going to trust it. And that's, look, we were talking about PEDs. Are you just going to take whatever? No, I did some research. How is this going to affect me? What's going to happen? And I was willing to take the risk. That's the difference. If people are willing to jump into keto, willing to jump into XYZ, just remember, research what you're getting into first. That first presentation may not be what you want, but they may have the research and knowledge you need to have you do it. So I had to jump into that both ways.
So you talked about earlier about your mom and cancer and all that stuff and diabetes. And when it comes down to her diet, what did the doctors recommend she change?
The basic fad diet, basically, what is the word? Kosher diet, no salt, you know what I mean? And I'm like, we have cancer on my mom's side really, really bad. My aunt just passed away this November, past November. My mother was 10 years earlier, in December. Cancer. My mother had liver cancer, metastasized to bone. My aunt had breast cancer. Now, did they eat the same? Yes, we're, Southern, so we're eating, the fried chicken, the collard greens, the cornbread, the mac and cheese. Could that have attributed to the diet? Yes, but they were heavy smokers. So that could have attributed as well. I just think an influx of things, not just diet, caused that. Now, can we say, the meat? Yeah, of course. It's processed meat, people injecting hormones, all that kind of stuff. Yes. But I think a bunch of other factors play as well.
Do you feel, did they eat a lot of red meat?
Yeah.
Oh, they did? Or
more,
was it a once
I'm going to
a
say
week?
more, yeah. Not a lot of red meat, maybe more beef, not so much steak. But
Like hamburgers.
yeah, hamburgers, ground beef, things of that nature. Not so much steak. Steak for us, like we were poor. So if we got steak, somebody was celebrating something.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
So red meat wasn't like a staple in your diet.
No.
And so okay, so
More
like
chicken.
So looking at like your diet, what do you think was the most damaging part of that diet for them?
People can say salt, right? Because oh Lord, collard greens, everything has salt in it. So it's quick to blame. It's easy to blame salt, right? Do I know specifically? No, no, I do not.
So with we brought up salt multiple times. So
yeah,
I'm gonna dig into that one.
Right.
So when it comes to salt, why is salt so bad?
I used to think so. I love salt.
Okay. So okay.
I mean, what,
you know, like
cholesterol?
you
are we gonna go back there? Like
yeah,
cholesterol,
we'll talk
high
about
blood
cholesterol.
pressure.
Okay, we'll talk. So when it comes to salt, if you can grab a time machine and go back and try to convince your mom to like stop doing salt, do you think it would make a difference?
No, because you didn't stop smoking. She didn't stop drinking.
But so salt wasn't the
only factor. No.
But you do believe salt was a factor.
Maybe too much, but too much of anything, right?
Well, salt's an essential
It
mineral, and I've actually when I deal with people in the hospital, most people are low in sodium.
Okay. You said either anemic?
No, low in sodium. But there are a lot of people anemic, but that's a whole different range of issues. Most people in the hospital are low sodium, and actually, when your sodium level goes low, it messes with metabolism. But have you ever taken a diuretic?
Yes.
And depleted your salt? How'd you feel?
Shit.
So
excuse me, like crap.
So there's that value of salt. So if you're gonna just train someone who is 50, 60 years old, would you mess with their salt?
That's hard. Because I'm not a registered dietitian, right? I'm not a nutritionist. So I wouldn't leave that up to me.
Okay.
I wouldn't. I'll just stop there. That's out of my realm.
Okay. Because I'm really pro salt. So that's
we
why
know.
I'm just kind of...
James gave me salt when we were working out. Was it one of the best things I could? Yes. These little salt packets that were in there, great, fueled the workout, everything. Now, as far as diet, no. Right? But as far as using stuff to enhance the workout, yeah, by all means.
Well, I think salt, we have two ways of getting potassium in the cell. We got salt and insulin. Insulin's affected by carbs. So when you're trying to go on a lower calorie diet and mess with your carbs, and that's where keto and all that stuff, but electrolytes. So it's about hydration. Have you ever heard you're not hungry, you're dehydrated?
Yes.
And basically salt holds on to that.
Right.
So unless you're holding on to the water you intake is going to be healthy.
Exactly right.
So, but I'm a big person on salt. I think that's my thing. I'm a spokesperson for salt. I'm like, take your salt. But...
Do you think it has any correlation with cancer?
Salt, no.
Okay.
Salt is an essential mineral.
Mineral, yes.
It's not going to cause cancer in my, that in my belief. Obviously maybe there are some salts out there that are maybe not pure.
Right.
And I think maybe with the increase in plastics out in the environment, sea salt, there's the increase of plastics and those things can increase your estrogen levels. So in a way,
right,
something might attach to that salt.
Okay.
So because there's Himalayan salt, but I think salt is actually a cure. I think the things we were taught are bad. I'm coming to the realization they're really healthy. Don't eat eggs. And now it's well, you should have more eggs and it has a healthy fat. Or cut out red meat. And the sad part is people are believing this. And the thing with cholesterol. So, do you think someone should be on a low cholesterol diet?
Low? No.
If you just want to be healthy.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's but other than that, no. A lot of people I think concentrate a lot on cholesterol, which is fine, but there's bigger other factors to worry about.
So that's on your list of 20.
Yeah, I'm that's fine.
Because I think cholesterol should be actually increased.
Why?
Well, because it's a precursor to hormones. So cholesterol makes your hormones and all that stuff. So if your cholesterol is low, you're gonna have low testosterone.
Okay.
And so now in America, there's this increase of men that are low in testosterone.
Okay.
So what have we told people? Don't have cholesterol. Don't eat eggs. Watch your cholesterol.
Right.
Get your cholesterol checked. Right. And then now all of a sudden, all these men are becoming low testosterone. And I think
that's the correlation. Because people always have high blood pressure or blood pressure with cholesterol. So if you have cholesterol low and blood pressure low, you're okay. If you have cholesterol high and blood pressure low, you're okay. But if you have blood pressure high, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just, again, but it's going to depend on the person too. It's like what works well for, you know what I mean? For testosterone with me, would I need high or low cholesterol as a female competitor? And I'm just throwing it out there, compared to a male competitor where testosterone maybe, you know what I'm saying? And if I'm, PCTing, things of that nature, that also takes effect. But just a normal person, I think low blood pressure, medium cholesterol, low cholesterol is decent. But you say, obviously, with the influx of hormones and things of that nature, high and low testosterone, it's a lot. It's a lot in there.
So at least we can come to that conclusion. There's both sides.
Yes.
So maybe do some research on both
please.
sides, because there's the pro cholesterol, there's that, but maybe, and it always goes down to the individual person.
Yes.
There's probably that one person that needs to be on a low cholesterol diet, and then there's also that person that needs to be on, because 10% of the population is salt sensitive, so that affects that causes hypertension.
Okay.
So with your mother, was she hypertensive?
Yes.
Now, was it first she was hypertensive, then she became diabetic, and then she got the cancer?
Yes. In that order.
Yeah, usually a hypertensive. That's the order that I've seen a lot. Most people become hypertensive, and then they become diabetic, and then
Don't forget the high blood pressure and high cholesterol.
well, and it's all related to carbs.
Okay.
So when it comes to like carbs and insulin and all that stuff, more carbs you intake, you're messing with your hormones. Okay. So food affects hormones, and that affects the salt retention.
Right.
So we're blaming salt for something that your carbs are doing.
Right. Okay.
Because we have to stay. Our blood has to stay at a certain dilution.
Okay.
So the more sugar you have in your blood, the more salt you have in the blood to dilute it.
Right.
Because your blood's always the same dilution.
Okay.
It sounds really gross, but I think of Gatorade. It's always the same, no matter what store you go to.
Right.
It's the same dilution.
Right.
So, but I know I like that.
Went off on a tangent.
Yeah, I just went on a tangent. But I was like, man, you broke my heart right now. I was just like, shit.
Cholesterol.
But it's like when you said about salt and cholesterol, I was like,
it's like, but see, this is a doctor telling us this. You know what I'm saying? Low salt, take away this, take away that. So we believe it because it's a doctor, of course. Could I have done my own research? My mother, yeah, but we trust these health professionals but see, again, we think every person's different and no cookie cutter, but we believe, whenever someone has like cancer, they give the same diet to my mother that they gave to my aunt. Nothing changed. And this was 10 years ago. So where does that come into effect? You know what I'm saying? Are we making leaps and bounds as far as research and things that are being done, or we're just kind of like sitting back like, okay, cancer is just cancer. So liver cancer to breast cancer is totally different, is it not? So why would you give someone the same diet? Oh, it's just cancer, so you take this and you take this.
Well, it is. It's a different organ.
Right.
But it just like, it is and it isn't.
Right.
Well, because in a way, cancer is cancer. So what feeds cancer is the real indicator.
Okay.
So it's the overgrowth of cancer. So cancer is overgrowth of cells.
Yes.
Uncontrolled growth.
Right.
Insulin's a growth factor.
Okay, we're going here now.
So like that. So hormones, cancer cells are pretty smart. So they'll just be like, oh, I'm going to use this hormone. That's why the increase of estrogen. I mean, women have been developing a lot younger age.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I've seen women develop at a very young age. I don't even want to know, but I know they're young.
Right.
And I'm like, you look like you're 20.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay.
And she's
so
15.
And I think it has a lot to do with our food.
Yes.
Now, what have we changed in the last 20, 30 years?
Injection of hormones, diet.
Well, and then when it comes down to hormones are expensive.
Yes.
It's not really worth, like, when it comes down to, like, the injection of hormones, people think chickens I think you can't even inject chickens with hormones. You're not supposed to. Like, it's like the state law.
Right. And
cows, they inject trembolone, which many bodybuilders love to use, which is like the greatest thing. So as people are injecting it, the bro science thing is like, so the extra, my friend was like, I'll take the cow with trembolone. But not most cows and most farmers don't use drugs on these animals, because drugs are expensive. Drugs are money. If they don't really want to spend that money on things.
Yeah, you don't think they will. I'm like, with the way the world is now, as far as like,
I mean, it's easier to fatten up a cow with corn. So corn will increase so a cow is put to slaughter like after 2 years.
Okay.
So they notice, like, when you feed them corn, they just like fatten up. Corn. Okay. I think a better example is, if you want to get fat, what do you tell someone to do?
If I want someone to get fat, nothing.
No.
Like what? As far as diet,
like,
what are you talking about?
Yeah, on diet. Like, what do you tell them to do? Like, what do you tell them to eat?
Anything they want. Anything they want. Process anything that they want. Like, honestly, I'm like, but see, whoever says that.
Well, I'm just trying to. So the way we do it, like the way my mentality is, like,
Okay.
if you want to get fat, or you want to bulk up, or you want, what do you increase your carbs?
Yes, I was like,
manipulation of carbs affects fat.
Okay.
And that's where I'm trying to go at.
Okay.
Like where it's not, we don't manipulate fat that much.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't even like when in the bodybuilding world, it's like we're all on different fats.
Right.
Like Victor's on like this many fats, you're on this many fats. I'm on like every fat possible.
Right.
Well, but you guys look better. But
Nah.
it doesn't seem to matter that much as the carbs.
True. And yes, but see, it depends on each individual. I need to suck up as much carbs as I can. Fats, I mean, don't get me wrong, they were manipulated, big time. But I don't think I was ingesting enough fats. That's probably why, and that's why I mean it's going to differ. I may need to ingest a lot more than and you vice versa. You may need more carbs and fats. And Victor, who knows? But my point is, each person is still different, and that's just where the variation lies. But as far as for a person to get fat, it wouldn't rely on fats per se. You are right. It would rely on carbs and just not doing anything. As far as, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can get fat off of eating Oreos.
But have you ever heard of people that are trying to bulk and they'll do cardio in the morning so they eat more?
Yes.
So even
that's what I was doing. Fasted cardio. Yeah.
So people would do fasted cardio to gain weight.
Yes.
Which is kind of very interesting. People are doing
the opposite.
cardio to lose weight. So obviously, one of you guys are wrong.
Yeah.
Just gotta throw it out.
No,
I hate fasted cardio. I try to do as little cardio as possible. My life is way too busy.
Right.
And I'm too lazy.
No, you're honest. You're honest.
And I'm a big person on sleep. So, how many of your obese clients have horrible sleep?
I'm gonna say most of them, but most of them are family people. Probably why too. When you have kids and family, you can't it's just, again, your life's not your own. You got to get the kids up ready for school. You got to get them ready to sleep. You also got to feed maybe a family. You know what I'm saying? So again, your time's not even your own at some point. So the horrible sleep. You get some clients that come in, I only had 4 hours today. I didn't eat today. I had 3 hours of sleep today. Or they're going to school or something. You know what I mean? So most of my clients are either busy. I have maybe a few retired people that are free with their own time to do whatever. But most of my clientele is usually family members that don't. Do you, James? Do you get enough sleep?
Oh, I get like 8 to 10. I mean, like when I'm big on sleep.
Yes.
I'll be like, oh, you know what? I won't plan the next day if I can't get my 8 to 10 hours.
No, and that's being selfish.
Yeah.
Even with me, it's like, okay, can we do this podcast? Can we work out? Can we do this? And you have to prioritize yourself. Yeah. Like, you know what? I didn't really eat well today. No, I'm not going to get a good workout. Or I didn't get enough sleep. Try working out, doing a heavy leg day with 3 hours of sleep. Yeah, you can, but will you get the best out of that workout? Probably not.
So, I think what you've seen in so many competitors, and I think like that overuse of cardio and the craziness. We've dealt with people like, I've seen people like, they get like 3 hours of sleep, and then they'll work out and they'll do cardio 2 to 3 times a day, and then they'll work out, and then they'll go to work. How do you feel that turned out for them?
It didn't. I've had to drop clients. I've had to, because it's not a healthy way to just live. You can't live off 2-3 hours of sleep. Like, it's just not.
Why have you dropped certain clients? Like, what are the things that you like? No, I don't want to deal with this.
Either they didn't care about their own fitness journey. It was like me always having to push. You know what I mean? Like, they could literally just not care to be there. I was too intense. So I had to give them off to another trainer that was not as intense. They didn't want to listen. They didn't want to. Maybe they feel a certain way about taking orders from a female. But it was mostly female clients I had to drop, not men.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, just because I feel like females listen better.
Yeah.
I think females ask for more help than men. Like me, I'm like, I'm gonna try this experiment.
Right.
And like with women, it's like we had the conversation. It's like, if I tell you what to do, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna do it.
It's done.
But I think you have that mentality where you're just raised and.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Is there a difference between training a military person?
Oh yeah. Because we're on that same path. Yes sir, no sir, all this stuff. It just gets done. A client I had today, he was just like, I'm ready for 3 times a week. I'm ready to start like now. So whenever there's no convincing, there's no having to, okay, do you believe what I can, give you? No, he's just like, I've seen your body. I've seen your pictures, your Instagram. I see what you can do. I've seen other clients of yours. I've talked to them. So I'm ready to go. With female clients, yeah, unless they're really, really serious or want, my muscularity or to progress as far as like not being skinny fat or whatever it is, just being better, then I may get that female. But it's mostly men, mostly military people. It's just like it's an order. Hey, I need you to follow this program. They're like, all right, cool, done.
Okay, so you see, like, so probably if you were to prep someone for a show, a military person would probably be like your gold standard.
Yes. Like, it's just easier. It's easier not to say like, okay, they're gonna be a puppet and do what I say, but it's like it's easier to get your goal across, what you want for them, what they want. It's easier to communicate. Not to say that people can't ask why. By all means, ask me why I'm doing this. Ask me why we're hitting these muscles and not these muscles. Please, by all means. I have no offense to that. It's just there's less questions as far as your ability with a military person that understands that back, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think I've noticed a lot of military guys, their diet's on point and they get a lot of results.
Oh, yeah.
And they do things that I wouldn't do. I'm like, I'm going to sleep for an extra hour. And I'm like,
yeah, but you forget in the military, you're not allowed to ask questions. So that I think that transfers over to when, other jobs and other people they encounter. Me, I didn't ask questions either. When I went with my mother, there was no questions. Other people in my life, my jobs, I got people younger than me that I'm calling, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. And it should be the opposite. But I was like, it's never changed. It's still ingrained in me and it probably won't stop. Yeah.
So that's probably giving you that structure to be so good in bodybuilding. Because I mean, everyone I talk to that like knows I hang out with you. They're like, oh my gosh, she's so ripped, she's so like badass, and like.
Thank you.
And I was like, man, I like working out with her. I was like, damn, I'm so fat.
I'm like,
I'm so chubby. Shouldn't have had those 2-3 boxes of Oreos.
See, this guy. Yeah. You're not lying.
Oreos will just destroy you, but
yeah.
Yeah, I love Oreos. So.
I'm like, we know.
Probably should get an Oreo tattoo. But oh man, anything?
No. I think you were a lot. I think we record an hour in 7 minutes. So I mean, so we have enough content.
Cut it off, James. Hurry up. Give us the exit.
Okay.
Thank you for joining.
Okay.
Us,
Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us. Biggest thing with what I'm trying to convey is ask questions. Don't trust everything. We're all right, but it may not be right for you. So we're all trying, but sometimes good intentions aren't what you need. The best thing for you. So.
Awesome. Yes, thank you so much for having me, James. It was an awesome session, awesome podcast. Women that are out there looking to compete or looking to talk about PEDs or need information, please reach out. We're out there. Call us, text us, find us on Instagram. James, myself, Rosario Romero, Susan Salazar. These are my biggest influencers. Please reach out. We're there, willing to help. And yeah, just good luck with your fitness journeys.
Advice for all, also ask him different advice.
Okay.
Of your own journey, or I don't know if you something or like.
Okay.
That comes from you.
Advice. I will say, don't let discouragement or negativity stop you from reaching your goals. And I know you've probably heard it lots of times on Instagram. You see it. But don't let any kind of negativity stop you, because I let that stop me for a while. The way I look, the way I dress, how I am in the gym, don't let that discourage you. So keep that at heart and in your head and move on forward.